When thinking about the European double-decker Airbus A380, usually the key carriers come to mind. Emirates, of course, Singapore Airlines, British Airways, Qantas, and a few others. But several more had once thought about operating the type. These airlines even had firm orders placed, and some had examples produced before the whole gig was cancelled. In today's video, we briefly examine a few not-to-be Airbus A380 operators. Number 1. Virgin Atlantic. One of the first carriers to order the Super Jumbo was Virgin Atlantic. In 2001, the airline sought to add up to 6 examples of the A380 to its fleet. According to Executive Traveller, Virgin's new airliners, unsurprisingly, would have been nothing short of impressive, with Richard Branson talking about an onboard casino, nail parlour, in-person duty-free shopping and private double suites. But for passengers who hope to take advantage of all the potential amenities, Virgin Atlantic kept delaying the delivery. This lasted many years. In fact, it wouldn't be until 2018 that the airline finally announced the cancellation of its A380 orders. Then CEO Craig Krieger explained that it didn't have enough high-volume routes, nor the desire to take delivery of just a couple of examples. He was quoted as saying, "We just can't find enough markets that made sense for an aircraft that big, and it didn't make sense to take just 1 or 2 because of fleet complexity." In 2016, Virgin Atlantic placed an order for the A350. Having so far taken delivery of 10 examples, with a few more on the way, perhaps it concluded that there was better business to be made with the twin-engine wide-body rather than the quad-engine. Number 2. India's Kingfisher Airlines. Over a 7-year span, Kingfisher went from a new Indian airline to the second largest in the country to eventually folding and ceasing all operations. It was an extremely ambitious operation, noted for being the go-to premium Indian carrier, yet making many orders it would eventually default on. One of these was for the Airbus A380, for which the airline firmed up an order of 5 examples in June 2005. There's even a photo from Airbus which shows Kingfisher employees posing in front of an A380. Despite everything looking normal on paper and with high hopes to grow its fleet and international route network, Kingfisher had actually never been profitable and was burning through its accounts at breakneck speed. In 2007, it bought Air Deccan to get around a law preventing the carrier from flying internationally. This was followed shortly after by the financial crisis of 2008. Failing to pay its dues, the airline fell into bankruptcy and quickly died off, joining the list of A380 operators that never became a reality. Number 3. Skyark Airlines. Proud to be the first Japanese carrier that would take delivery of Airbus's double-decker quadjet, Skyark Airlines is a low-cost operator headquartered in Tokyo Haneda Airport. This airline hoped to fly up to 6 Airbus A380s, which it would use in a premium-dense configuration for long-haul travel. While the European manufacturer had at least 2 units already produced and ready to go, something unfavourable was brewing back in Japan. Skyark was in a fair bit of trouble, as prominent news outlet DW explained that the carrier felt burdened by the Japanese yen sliding in 2012. It was unclear whether Skyark would be able to finalise its purchase after already shelling out nearly €200 million amid steep competition and a net loss at the end of the year. In 2014, Airbus and Skyark tried to talk it out, but to no avail. With the plane maker afraid it would go unpaid, Airbus was actually the party to cancel Skyark's orders. As highlighted by Business Insider, Airbus scrapped the Japanese budget carrier's $1.7 billion order in July 2014 after the airline fell behind on its financial obligations. This was done much to the dissatisfaction of the carrier, who filed for the Japanese equivalent of Chapter 11 bankruptcy just a few months later. Interestingly, in April 2016, Emirates Sir Tim Clark confirmed that the airline would add another 2 A380s to its fleet. Those 2 additional A380s came from Skyark Airlines' cancelled 6 aircraft order. Number 4. Hong Kong Airlines. Of all the passenger carriers who made it on this list, Hong Kong Airlines made an order for the most A380s, planning for 10 examples in 2011. With the worldwide financial crisis mainly in the rearview mirror and the aptly named airline based at a critical global hub, Hong Kong Airlines hoped to take on the likes of Cathay Pacific by adding the A380 and increasing capacity on long-haul routes. However, according to Business Traveller, the following year, the carrier was unhappy not so much with the European aircraft manufacturer, but rather with the European Union. This was due to a carbon tax scheme that would encompass non-EU operators. But what really did it was the HNA Group's sister firm, Hong Kong Aviation Capital, or HKAC, placing an order for 40 A320neo and 30 A321neo aircraft. Now focusing on regional travel closer to home, the Hong Kong Airlines Airbus A380 dream would vanish. Number 5. Air Austral. This French airline, based in the overseas territory of Réunion, or Reunion, a few hundred kilometers east of Madagascar, placed an order for just 2 examples of Airbus's Super Jumbo airliner. Notably, these high-density examples would have come with a mind-boggling 840 seats. Alas, the 100% economy-configured A380 was not meant to be. As Business Insider explains, Air Austral and Airbus reached an agreement concerning the cancellation of its 2 A380s, citing a change of strategy by the airline. Perhaps it's best not to be cramped among 839 other individuals on a flight between Paris and Reunion. This is a flight that takes 11 hours flying one way and almost 12 hours flying the other. Interestingly, however, Air Austral did eventually operate the European double-decker aircraft between those 2 destinations. Well, sort of. The exact unit in question was actually rented out from Highfly. Upon landing, it was the longest domestic A380 flight at around 11 hours and the first landing of a commercial A380 on the island. It would have been interesting to see some, if not all, of these airlines follow through with their intentions to purchase and operate the Airbus A380. Not only would we have seen more interesting uses of space on board Virgin Atlantic's examples, but higher density configurations with Skyark and Air Austral would have made for interesting in-flight experiences as well. Well, at least we still have quite a few airlines still operating the type these days. So, to wrap up this video, which airline from this list would you have most wanted to operate the A380? And which actual A380 airline is your favourite these days? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.